Throughout the ages, certain individuals have discovered something remarkable about our human experience, that living spiritually doesn't just enhance our inner peace, it literally transforms our physical bodies. This truth was understood by Edgar, who taught that for every single year you commit to living in higher spiritual awareness, your physical body can experience the equivalent of 10 years of rejuvenation. What does this mean? It means that the spiritual realm and physical realm are not separate, as our modern minds have been conditioned to believe. They are intrinsically connected, with the spiritual always preceding and informing the physical. Your body is not merely a biological machine operating on chemical reactions. It is a living field of energy that responds moment by moment to your consciousness. When you maintain elevated states of awareness for extended periods, you activate dormant regenerative codes within your cellular structure. These codes were designed to keep your body in a perpetual state of renewal, but they only activate fully when your consciousness vibrates at certain frequencies. The deterioration we call aging is not an inevitable process, but rather the result of living primarily in lower states of consciousness, dominated by stress, fear, and separation. The ancient spiritual masters understood this. They didn't just live longer, they lived with extraordinary vitality into advanced age. Their secret wasn't complicated diets or strenuous exercise regimens, but a fundamental shift in how they inhabited their own consciousness. To activate this spiritual code of longevity, begin by recognizing that every thought, emotion, and energetic state you maintain is either contributing to regeneration or degeneration of your physical form. When you consistently hold thoughts of love, peace, joy, and connection with the divine, you create an internal environment where cells naturally rejuvenate rather than deteriorate. Spiritual consciousness isn't about escaping the physical, it's about infusing the physical with higher frequencies. This begins with daily practices that elevate your vibrational state above the collective consciousness of aging and decline. Meditation is not merely a relaxation technique, but a powerful means of accessing regenerative states of being. Just 20 minutes of deep meditation can shift your body's biochemistry more powerfully than hours of sleep. Similarly, gratitude isn't just a pleasant emotion, it's a powerful vibrational state that triggers your body's innate healing mechanisms. When you exist in profound gratitude, even briefly, you activate what spiritual scientists call the divine template of your physical form, the perfect blueprint from which your body was formed. Forgiveness, too, plays a crucial role in this spiritual technology of rejuvenation. Holding on to resentment creates energetic blockages that accelerate cellular deterioration. Each act of genuine forgiveness releases these blockages, allowing life force to flow freely through your entire being again. But perhaps most important is the practice of divine remembrance, maintaining awareness of your true nature as an eternal spiritual being, temporarily experiencing physical form. When you consistently remember this truth, you free yourself from the collective belief in inevitable decline. Your cells respond not to calendar years, but to the quality of consciousness you maintain. The spiritual masters taught that time itself is flexible. It expands or contracts based on your state of consciousness. In elevated spiritual states, biological processes that typically take years can be accomplished in days or even moments. This isn't mystical exaggeration, but the natural result of aligning with the true nature of reality, where consciousness precedes and shapes physical manifestation. Is this a simple process? Not in our distracted, materialistic world. It requires dedication and discipline to maintain elevated states of consciousness, consistently enough to trigger profound rejuvenation. But is it complex? No. It's our natural state, hidden beneath layers of conditioning that have taught us to accept deterioration as inevitable. The secret to spiritual rejuvenation lies in understanding that your physical body exists within a vast, subtle energy field, what ancient traditions called the etheric body or subtle body. This invisible field precedes and informs physical matter, serving as the template through which life force flows into cellular structures. When this field is vibrant and unobstructed, rejuvenation occurs naturally and continuously. Meditation, prayer, and conscious breathing are not merely calming practices. They are sophisticated technologies for amplifying and directing this life-giving energy field. When you meditate deeply, you're not just quieting your mind, you're actually connecting to the infinite reservoir of life force that exists beyond physical limitation. This connection allows fresh vitality to pour into your subtle energy system, which then naturally regenerates your physical body. The breath is perhaps the most accessible gateway between these realms. Each conscious breath carries prana or chi, universal life energy, not just oxygen. When you breathe mindfully, feeling the breath move through your entire being, you're actually drawing in rejuvenating energy that nourishes both your physical cells and your subtle energy field. Ancient breathing practices weren't developed merely for relaxation, but as precise methods for gathering and distributing life force throughout the multidimensional human system. Consider the practice of pranayama from the yogic tradition. These aren't arbitrary breathing patterns, but carefully designed sequences that direct prana to specific energy centers or organs that need regeneration. Similarly, the practice of qigong in Taoist tradition involves conscious circulation of life energy through meridian pathways, clearing blockages that cause deterioration and disease. Prayer, when approached not as mere words, but as a state of receptive communion, opens channels through which divine energy can flow into your being. This is why many spiritual adepts who maintain deep prayer practices showed remarkable longevity and vitality. They were constantly receiving fresh life force through their devotional connection. The state achieved in deep prayer activates the pineal gland, which modern research shows regulates many aspects of cellular regeneration and hormonal balance. The quality of your subtle energy field is also profoundly affected by your environment. Spending time in natural settings, forests, mountains, oceans, allows your energy field to synchronize with the harmonious frequencies of the natural world. These environments are rich in negative ions and natural electromagnetic frequencies that support cellular regeneration. Conversely, prolonged exposure to artificial environments, electromagnetic pollution, and synthetic materials can distort your subtle body, accelerating the aging process. Sound vibration, too, plays a crucial role in rejuvenation. Certain frequencies, particularly those found in sacred chants, crystal bowls, or specific musical intervals, can literally reorganize the molecular structure of water in your body. Since your physical form is approximately 70% water, introducing harmonious sound frequencies into your environment directly impacts cellular structure and function. The practice of energy circulation is essential for those seeking spiritual rejuvenation. This involves consciously moving awareness through the body, visualizing light or energy flowing through every organ and system. As you direct loving attention to each part of your physical form, you're actually channeling regenerative energy to those areas. Areas of the body that receive regular conscious attention in this way demonstrate remarkable resilience against deterioration. Fasting, both from food and from sensory stimulation, creates space for profound renewal of the subtle energy system. When you periodically free your body from the energy-intensive process of digestion and your mind from constant sensory input, you redirect that energy toward repair and regeneration. This is why many spiritual traditions incorporate regular fasting and periods of silence or retreat. The polarity between rest and activity also plays a crucial role in rejuvenation. Modern society values constant productivity, yet the subtle energy field requires periods of complete rest to recharge fully. Deep, conscious relaxation, different from ordinary sleep, allows your entire energy system to rebalance and restore itself. Practices like yoga nidra or yogic sleep can provide more rejuvenation in 30 minutes than hours of ordinary unconscious sleep. Your subtle energy field is also profoundly affected by the Earth's magnetic field. Practices that connect you to the Earth's natural electromagnetic frequency, like walking barefoot on natural ground or earthing, help reset your body's bioelectric rhythms to their natural state. This alignment with Earth's energy supports cellular communication and repair processes that are often disrupted by modern lifestyles. Ultimately, rejuvenation through spiritual living isn't about adding something new to your life. It's about removing the obstructions that block the natural flow of life force through your multidimensional being. When these blockages are cleared and your subtle energy field is vibrant, your physical body naturally expresses vitality and resilience regardless of chronological age. At the core of spiritual rejuvenation lies a profound truth that transcends mere physical practices. The heart's electromagnetic field, when vibrating at frequencies of elevated emotions, triggers rejuvenation far more powerful than any dietary regimen or exercise program. This is not poetic metaphor, but bioenergetic reality that ancient wisdom traditions understood intuitively, and modern science is now beginning to measure. Your heart generates the most powerful electromagnetic field in your body, 5,000 times stronger than the brain's. This field extends several feet beyond your physical form and contains encoded information about your emotional and spiritual state. When you cultivate elevated emotions like gratitude, compassion, forgiveness, and unconditional love, your heart field begins to vibrate at higher frequencies that literally reorganize the molecular structure of your cells toward regeneration rather than deterioration. Gratitude is perhaps the most accessible of these regenerative emotional states. When you exist in genuine gratitude, not as a concept, but as a felt experience, your heart rhythm becomes more coherent, creating what scientists call cardiac coherence. This coherent state synchronizes all bodily systems, reduces inflammation, balances hormones, and activates longevity genes that might otherwise remain dormant. Just 5 minutes of genuine heartfelt gratitude can reverse hours of biochemical aging caused by stress and negative emotion. Compassion represents another powerful rejuvenating frequency. When you extend heartfelt compassion toward others, genuinely feeling their experience and wishing for their suffering to be alleviated, your body releases powerful regenerative compounds including oxytocin, which has been shown to repair cellular damage and promote tissue regeneration. The compassionate heart creates an internal environment where aging processes dramatically slow or even reverse. The practice of forgiveness may be the most potent rejuvenation technology available to humanity. Holding resentment creates ongoing stress responses that rapidly accelerate cellular aging. Each act of genuine forgiveness, releasing others and yourself from judgment, creates cascades of regenerative biochemicals that repair DNA, restore telomere length, and optimize mitochondrial function. Many who practice profound forgiveness report spontaneous healing of long-standing physical conditions. Unconditional love represents the highest frequency your heart can generate, a state where you extend pure, unattached positive regard toward all beings, including yourself. This isn't romantic love or even familial love, but a spiritual love that recognizes divine essence in everything. When you access even moments of this state, your entire biochemistry shifts toward extraordinary regeneration. Cell membranes become more permeable to nutrients, waste removal accelerates, and your genes express in patterns that promote longevity. The ancients understood that the heart is not merely a pump, but a sophisticated sensory organ and processing center containing its own intrinsic nervous system, what modern neurocardiology calls the heart brain. This intelligence processes information independently from the cranial brain, and when operating at higher frequencies, can override aging programs encoded in your genetic material. To access these rejuvenating heart frequencies, begin with the practice of heart coherence. Bring your awareness to your heart center, breathe slowly and deeply into this area, and consciously generate feelings of appreciation or care. Maintain this focus for just 5 minutes several times daily. This simple practice has been shown to reduce biological age markers more effectively than many physical interventions. Another powerful practice is heart-centered meditation, where instead of focusing on the breath or a mantra, you concentrate awareness in the heart region while cultivating feelings of warmth, expansion, and connection. This activates what spiritual traditions call the heart chakra, an energy center that, when fully open, bathes your entire system in regenerative frequencies. The practice of metta, or loving-kindness meditation, specifically develops these rejuvenating heart qualities. By systematically extending goodwill toward yourself, loved ones, neutral persons, difficult people, and eventually all beings, you gradually strengthen your capacity to maintain elevated emotional states for longer periods. Each extension of this heartfelt goodwill activates rejuvenation processes throughout your body. Service to others with heartfelt intention creates particularly powerful rejuvenating effects. When you give of yourself from genuine care rather than obligation, your heart generates frequencies that activate what scientists call eudaimonic well-being, a state associated with reduced inflammation and increased expression of anti-aging genes. This explains why those who serve others with love often display remarkable vitality well into advanced age. The heart's regenerative power is amplified by practices that cultivate joy and appreciation for beauty. Taking time to deeply appreciate music, art, nature, or any experience that evokes genuine wonder creates heart rhythm patterns that propagate healing information throughout your body. These moments aren't merely pleasant, they're powerful medicine for your cells. Your heart also responds powerfully to conscious breathing. When you breathe slowly and deeply while maintaining awareness in your heart, you synchronize cardiac and respiratory rhythms in what scientists call respiratory sinus arrhythmia, a highly regenerative state associated with youth and vitality. Just 2 minutes of this practice can shift your entire autonomic nervous system from stress response toward regeneration. Remember that elevated emotions cannot be forced or manufactured. They must be genuine. This is why spiritual practices that open the heart naturally, like devotion, prayer, and communion with nature, are so effective for rejuvenation. These approaches bypass the analytical mind to access authentic heart intelligence, where the most powerful regenerative frequencies originate. The greatest secret of heart-based rejuvenation is consistency. Brief moments of elevated emotions certainly benefit your body, but the transformative power comes from establishing these states as your baseline, rather than occasional experiences. This is precisely what spiritual traditions mean when they speak of abiding in the heart, maintaining heart-centered awareness, not just during formal practice, but throughout daily activities. The most profound secret of spiritual rejuvenation lies in understanding the relationship between consciousness and time. What we experience as linear time, the steady progression of moments that seems to age our bodies, is not an absolute reality, but a perceptual construct profoundly influenced by our state of consciousness. The ancient spiritual masters discovered that by maintaining elevated states of awareness, they could literally cause their internal biological clock to run backward, reversing the aging process in ways that seemed miraculous to observers. This phenomenon occurs because biological time and spiritual time operate according to different principles. Biological time is governed by entropy, the tendency of physical systems to move toward disorder. Spiritual time, however, is governed by coherence, the capacity of consciousness to create harmony, integration, and renewal. When you learn to live primarily in spiritual time, while merely visiting biological time, extraordinary regeneration becomes possible. The transition between these time dimensions begins with present moment awareness. When you fully inhabit each moment, free from regrets about the past or anxiety about the future, you step outside the stream of linear time that accelerates aging. This is why spiritual traditions emphasize presence so consistently. It's not merely a path to peace, but a doorway to regeneration. In complete presence, your cells are liberated from the stress hormones that rapid age your body when you're mentally projecting into past or future. Meditation fundamentally alters your relationship with time. Studies of long-term meditators show that they consistently test younger on biomarkers of aging than their chronological peers. During deep meditative states, metabolic processes slow dramatically, oxidative stress decreases, and cellular repair mechanisms activate. Yet subjectively, time often expands. Minutes can feel like hours, creating a paradoxical experience where biological aging slows while perceived time expands. The perception of time is directly linked to brainwave states. When your brain operates predominantly in beta waves, the typical waking state of modern humans, time seems to speed by and aging accelerates. When you shift into alpha, theta, and especially delta brainwaves while remaining conscious, as experienced meditators do, time perception dilates and biological aging processes dramatically slow. This explains why just 30 minutes of deep meditation can provide more rejuvenation than hours of ordinary sleep. Your relationship with death profoundly impacts your aging process. Most humans live with unconscious fear of death, creating chronic subtle stress that accelerates cellular deterioration. When you develop a spiritually mature relationship with mortality, understanding that consciousness transcends physical death, this underlying stress dissolves. removing a primary driver of premature aging. Those who have transcended death fear through spiritual realization often demonstrate remarkable longevity. The quality of your attention directly affects how quickly you age. Fragmented attention, constantly shifting between tasks, devices, and stimuli, creates internal fragmentation that accelerates deterioration. Conversely, sustained, single-pointed attention generates coherence that promotes cellular repair and regeneration. This is why contemplative practices involving focused attention on a single object, a mantra, breath, or sacred image, are such powerful tools for rejuvenation. States of flow, where you're completely absorbed in meaningful activity, create another doorway between time dimensions. In flow states, time perception often vanishes entirely, and your biology shifts toward regeneration rather than deterioration. Creative expression, when approached from spiritual consciousness, becomes a powerful longevity practice, precisely because it induces these timeless flow states. Your perception of your own age dramatically influences actual biological aging. When you identify strongly with your chronological age and cultural expectations about how people of that age should feel and function, you unconsciously program your cells to conform to these expectations. Spiritual mastery involves releasing age identification completely, seeing yourself as an ageless consciousness, temporarily expressing through physical form. This perceptual shift alone can trigger remarkable rejuvenation. The cycles of nature offer another key to manipulating biological time. By synchronizing your activities and rest periods with natural rhythms, the daily solar cycle, monthly lunar cycle, and seasonal cycles, you align your biology with regenerative patterns encoded in the natural world. Modern lifestyles that override these natural cycles with artificial lighting and constant activity create temporal disruption that accelerates aging. Realigning with these cycles can rapidly restore natural regenerative processes. Dreams represent another dimension where spiritual and biological time intersect. During lucid dreaming, when you're consciously aware within the dream state, you can access regenerative energies unavailable in ordinary waking consciousness. Many spiritual traditions include dream yoga practices, specifically designed to maintain conscious awareness during sleep states, allowing practitioners to conduct healing and rejuvenation work during these altered time dimensions. Altered states of consciousness accessed through sacred ritual, chanting, or ceremonial use of plant medicines in traditional contexts have been used by spiritual adepts for millennia to step outside linear time and access regenerative dimensions of reality. These experiences aren't merely subjective. They create measurable changes in inflammatory markers, immune function, and cellular repair mechanisms that can persist long after the experience concludes. The spiritual understanding of aging recognizes that your body exists simultaneously in multiple time dimensions. Physical matter operates in linear time, while consciousness can access non-linear dimensions where healing can occur instantaneously. Spiritual healers throughout history have demonstrated the ability to facilitate rapid physical regeneration by helping others access these non-linear dimensions, where the body's perfect template exists untouched by deterioration. Perhaps the most practical application of spiritual time manipulation involves cultivating what might be called timeless perception, a way of experiencing reality where each moment is completely fresh rather than filtered through memory and expectation. This perceptual shift removes the psychological patterning that reinforces aging processes. When each experience is truly new, your body responds with the regenerative biochemistry of youth rather than the deteriorative processes triggered by repetitive, unconscious living. The ultimate teaching about spiritual time and biological rejuvenation is this: youth is not a period of life, but a quality of consciousness characterized by openness, wonder, adaptability, and presence. When you cultivate these qualities through spiritual practice, you literally transmit rejuvenating information to every cell in your body. For every year you maintain this elevated state of consciousness, you potentially add a decade of vitality to your experience, not by adding years to your life, but by adding life to your years. And in doing so, often extending physical longevity as a natural side effect of living in alignment with spiritual reality. If these spiritual principles of rejuvenation have resonated with you, Don't let this wisdom remain merely intellectual. Begin implementing these practices today and witness the transformation in your own life. Subscribe now to receive more ancient wisdom made practical for modern living, and share your experiences in the comments below. How has spiritual living already begun to rejuvenate your body, mind, and spirit? Your journey could inspire countless others seeking the same path. Remember, for every year you commit to living in these elevated states, 10 years of rejuvenation await you. Subscribe, comment, and join our community of spiritual seekers dedicated to ageless living.